the Golf Dudes Podcast. Here are the dudes.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Golf Dudes Podcast. Hope all is well. Hope you're having a great Thursday. Excited for a big weekend of hopefully golf, but it looks like Saturday's going to be a disaster. But either way, some semblance of golf somewhere, I'm sure. And obviously the Solheim Cup going on and everything else. But as we are taping this podcast, we are in the midst of a critical couple of days for Rhode Island's newly minted pro golfers. Davis Chatfield and Patrick Welch on the Korn Ferry Tour, and Andrew O'Leary making his Q-School or starting his Q-School journey out in Ohio. Now, on Wednesday, we told you, we put up a video breakdown, I guess you would call it, of Chatfield and Welch. I think we put up on Wednesday. I taped it Tuesday night, and so we will play that for you coming up. And then obviously O'Leary is in round 2 as we tape this of his pre-qualifier. So all that is coming up. This is the Golf Dudes Podcast. I am Joe Calabro, and if you're wondering if you're watching this and you're saying it looks different, it looks new, or there's something new about it, maybe it doesn't look new, it probably looks the same, but there's something new about it, and that's because of the ticker. Check that ticker out right there. That's the new thing we've added to the podcast. Every show is going to have a ticker. It probably will not run when we have interviews or things of that nature, but just in general, it'll be a ticker. It'll have some of our top stories on it and a few other things as well. Obviously, all going back to the website. So super excited to have the ticker there. And so feel free to give that a read. The top stories will kind of scroll by, and there you have that. So without further ado, let's get into some of the stuff. Like I said, we will play the Patrick Welch, Davis Chatfield breakdown for you as we are taping this right now there on the course, and they are both 1 under par for the tournament. So again, there's a long ways to go, but at least they're off to decent starts. And then Andrew O'Leary, as we reported yesterday on Wednesday, he starts his Q-School journey today, he started his Q-School journey Wednesday in Ohio. Sorry, getting my days confused. And he's off to a great start. As we put up later that day. He's 4 under through the first round. He's in solo second, not tied for second. He's in solo second, and in that particular qualifier, the top 38 in ties advanced to stage 1. So the biggest thing, we went through Q-School last year with Chatfield, Chatfield, Frank Hoare, and Will Dixon. The biggest thing is you just advance. You don't need to win nothing. You don't have to take medalist honors. It doesn't do anything different for you. Obviously, it's great if you get medalist honors, but it's not necessary. So just advance, and that's what he'll be looking to do. That we'll have a answer by Friday evening whether or not he advanced to stage 1. It looks like he's in pretty good shape, barring an epic disaster. Round 2 is just underway as we're taping this. According to the live scoring, he has not teed off yet for round 2. So this pre-qualifier is 3 rounds. And again, he's in Ohio at Ohio State University's course. It's always interesting to me, and I asked Joel Harvey about this. He's not in Q-School, obviously, but these guys that play these qualifiers in different places other than the semi-local place. Now, this is different because there wasn't that local of a place, but he's playing out in Ohio. But there were qualifiers in North Carolina, Georgia, Texas, California. Not that he was going to California, but there were other qualifiers. So it's interesting. It'll be interesting to ask him why he chose to go to Ohio. I'm guessing it's because he's probably played the course before. Perhaps Notre Dame played a tournament there or tournaments there. So I'm guessing that would be the reason. But it'll be interesting to ask him why he decided to choose that particular location. I'll ask him after the tournament. I'm not going to bother him, obviously, in the midst of the tournament. So, but that'd be interesting. That always interests me. I think it's different strategies, different reasons. So, again, my guess would be that he knows the course from his time at Notre Dame. But that's where we are with that. So he's in the midst of the second round in the pre-qualifier and to advance to stage 1. Again, at least after round 1. It looks like he's in good shape. Shot 4 under 68. So looks like he's in good shape. So that is where we are with Andrew Larry. We will follow his run through Q-School as he hopefully continues to move on. Again, the point is just to advance. It doesn't matter what position you finish in, really, just advance. The only time where it matters what position you finish in is in the final stage. That's where, the top 5 or something go to the PGA Tour. The next 25 or 30, whatever it is, go to the Korn Ferry Tour, et cetera, et cetera. That's the amount of time matters where you really finish. These qualifiers, just get through them, just qualify, and advance to the next stage. So obviously, it's great if you win medalist honors. Congrats! I'm sure you probably got something, I'm guessing. But for now, let's just advance. So he's 400 after the first round, and again, at the time of this taping, he has not teed off yet. So we'll be following him throughout the weekend. Well, throughout the rest of Thursday and obviously Friday, as he looks to advance to stage 1 of PGA Tour Q-School. So back to Chatfield and Welch. They're both on the course right now as we are taping this. And again, we'll show you the breakdown in a minute. Actually, before we get into how they're doing so far, because it's not going to make any sense to repeat what I'm saying. So let's go to the breakdown now. GolfNewsRI put this up on Wednesday afternoon, a video of all the numbers, what it means, kind of what these guys have to do to advance to 1, the Korn Ferry Tour Championship, and 2, and more importantly, get exemptions for next year, for next season. So let's go to that. This was put up by GolfNewsRI on Wednesday afternoon, and it gives I think it came out pretty good. It gives a little breakdown of kind of what these guys kind of have to do and what all the numbers mean. So here it is. Huge implications this week on the Korn Ferry Tour, and that's why we are here to break them down for you. Hi, everybody. This is a GolfNewsRI special broadcast. I'm Joe Calabro. Thanks for tuning in. Lots going on this week. Big week on the Korn Ferry Tour, on the Nationwide Children's Hospital Championship taking place out at Ohio State University's golf course. So big implications this week. Obviously, we're going to focus on Davis Chatfield and Patrick Welch, but implications for everybody. So without further ado, let's break it down. Okay, so before we get to Chatfield and Welch's situations, they're both very different, or not very different, but pretty different. Let's just get to the breakdown of the numbers and what kind of the cutoffs are for this week. So for this week, again, this is just specifically this week, the Korn Ferry Tour Championship and early next month has their own different set of numbers. So let's just focus on this week for now. The top 75 players on the Korn Ferry Tour points list, which you can see hyperlinked in the article you're currently reading, get into the Korn Ferry Tour Championship next month. Now, more importantly, almost more importantly, particularly for Davis and Patrick, the top 75 players earn full Korn Ferry Tour status for next season. So huge implications there. Now, if you finish also the top 75, there are also benefits, just not as good as having a full-time job for next season. If you're inside the top 85, you get to skip to the second stage of PGA Tour Q-School. Inside the top 100, you get conditional status on the Korn Ferry Tour for next season with the ability to obviously earn more starts with good play and the reshuffles. So that's sort of the breakdown. So again, top 75 on the points list after this week, you get full Korn Ferry Tour status for 2024. Top 85, you get to skip, or from 75 to 85, you get to skip to the second stage of Q-School, PGA Tour Q-School. Again, Q-School is different this year. They changed it back to the PGA Tour Q-School. We'll have more on that next week. But 75 to 85, you get to skip to the second stage of Q-School, and then if you're inside the top 100, you get conditional status on the tour, on the Korn Ferry Tour next week. So, with that said, with those numbers broke down, let's get into the specific players again, with a focus on Patrick Welch and Davis Chatfield. All right, we want to start with Patrick Welch first, former classical star, classical grad, Oklahoma star. He's obviously been playing pretty well this month or this season on the Korn Ferry Tour. So here's the breakdown for him. Coming into this week, he currently sits at 79 on the Korn Ferry Tour points list. Last week's tournament, he was tied for first after the first round, and then he kind of slid down the leaderboard after that with a 73. A pair of 72. So he comes in this week at number 79, which means he really needs to have a good week. Top 10 finish, or probably better, somewhere along those lines to get inside the top 75. So a huge week for him, a career-changing week for him if he can earn full status next season. But he needs to play well, and obviously, the people around him could play badly. So, the points fluctuate as we've seen, the rankings fluctuate as we've seen throughout the season. Things can change quickly. So, but he definitely has to play well. Certainly has to make the cut at the very least, and then go from there. So, a big week for Patrick. So, again, he's number 79 on the points list. So, if he stays between 75 and 85, or 76 and 85, I guess, he gets to skip to the second stage of PGA Tour Q-School. And then obviously, no matter what, he's not going to fall outside the top 100. But he'll have conditional Korn Ferry Tour status next season, and he can earn more with good play. So a big week for Patrick. Maybe the biggest golf rounds of his young career, you certainly could argue. And we'll see how he does. But that's kind of his status. So number 79 right now, has a good week, can get inside the top 75, and then he'll earn full Korn Ferry Tour status. If not, he'll get kind of a bye, if you will, for lack of a better word, into the second stage of Q-School, and then go try to earn his way back on there from there, or play on the Korn Ferry Tour conditionally. Certainly the Monday qualifiers could be a thing for him, and see if he can work his way into more Korn Ferry Tour starts. So that is the breakdown for Patrick Welch. Again, he was off to a great start last week and kind of faded over the last 3 rounds and over the weekend. So we'll see if he bounces back this week. Now, on to Davis Chatfield. Okay, so for Chatfield, his situation is a little less dire. He's in better shape, obviously, than Patrick is as far as the top 75. But he still needs to have a good week. Last week he missed the cut, and I thought, oh man, this is really gonna kill his rankings. But he ended up only dropping 1 spot. He was projected for a little while to drop from 60. I think he was 64. He was projected to drop from 64 to 68. But by the end of the week, and by the time everybody finished, he only had dropped 1 spot. So he's number 65 right now on the Korn Ferry Tour points list. Again, top 75 earned full Korn Ferry Tour status for next season. So super important. So for Davis, he should be a lock to get into the top 75. As we've seen, things happen, crazy things can happen. The points shift quickly, but he should be a lock to get into the top 75 with a good tournament this week. Certainly a missed cut would make things interesting. But again, last week I thought when he missed the cut, I thought he was gonna, plummet kind of, and he didn't drop 1 spot. So it's hard to see him dropping 11 spots. That's a big drop. Again, just be outside the top 75. So even if he drops 10 spots, that's only he's right on the number. So hard to see him dropping 11 spots, but things happen. So hopefully he plays well. Now, the flip side of that is if he does play well and he gets, a top 10 finish or top 12 finish like he had a few weeks ago, and he moves up the rankings and he gets into the 50s or maybe even the high 40s, that's probably a stretch, but certainly if he wins or has a top 5 finish, that's possible. So if he plays well and gets into that kind of a position, now going into the Korn Ferry Tour Championship, you certainly have to say he has an outside shot of getting into the top 30. Top 30 after the Korn Ferry Tour Championship, you get your PGA Tour card. So obviously he has a long way to go. You have to have a good round and a good tournament, a good tournaments. So that's a little ways off, but big rounds this week for both Patrick Welch and Davis Chatfield, and that's kind of the breakdown of where each player is. Again, Patrick is number 75. He needs a good tournament this week to get inside the top 75. He's number 79. He needs a good tournament this week to get inside the top 75. And Chatfield is 65 and needs to play well to maintain that position. But in theory, he should be a lock barring something crazy happens. So that is the breakdown. It'll be a fascinating tournament to watch. And then next week we have Q-School starting and things of that nature to follow as well. So good luck to both Davis and Patrick this week. This has been a special GolfNewsRI this broadcast. I'm Joe Calabro. Have a great day, everyone. And welcome back to the Golf Dudes podcast. Again, that was a video feature we put up on Wednesday, breaking down what Patrick Welch and Davis Chatfield need to do in this week's Korn Ferry Tour tournament, the Nationwide Children's Hospitals Championship. So as of right now, and I messed up. Andrew Leary is playing in Ohio, but he's not playing the Ohio State course. The Patrick Welch and Davis Chatfield are playing the Ohio State course for the Korn Ferry Tour event. So my fault on that. False information, fake news. Anyway, so as you saw in that video feature, the key number here this week is 75. It changes for the Korn Ferry Tour Championship, kind of, sort of. Depends on what you're trying to look for. But the key number here is 75. Patrick Welch needs to have a better tournament, in theory, than Davis Chatfield. Patrick Welch enters the tournament at 79. He needs to play really well to secure a top 75 spot throughout the week. Chatfield comes in at 65. He just needs to play obviously well, but his situation, as I say in the feature, is not as dire. So they are both on the course right now. It is noontime when I'm taping this, or a little just after noontime, I guess. So Patrick Welch is through 11 holes, and he's 2 under par and tied for 7th. Chatfield is through 10 holes, and he is 1 under par and tied for 15th. So that's where they are as of this very moment. As far as the numbers, look, there's obviously a long way to go, right? There's 3 more rounds to grind. There's a long way to go. But as of right now, for whatever it's worth, Patrick is projected to go from 79 to 68, which is a huge jump. Again, these numbers can change quickly, which is why, even though Davis should be a lock, as I say, it's crazy things can happen. Things flip fast. So Welch is projected to go from 79 to 68, and Chatfield is projected to go from 65 to 61 as of right now. Again, for whatever that's worth, there's a long way to go, but they're both off to good starts. I don't think they've really played well in the same week in a while, or ever since they've both been on the tour. Usually Patrick plays well once a week and Davis misses the cut, and then Patrick misses the cut and Davis plays well. That feels like how it's been going over the last handful of weeks. So maybe this will be the week where they both kind of put it together. Patrick got off to a great start last week. I really thought some magic was going to happen. He had the lead after the first round and then slowly slid down the leaderboard after that. But they're both off to good starts this week. So again, stay tuned to GolfNewsRI, and throughout the weekend, we'll be following all of it. We'll be following the projections and everything else. And hopefully they both get into the Korn Ferry Tour Championship, and then we'll see what happens. That's where the top 30 players in that go to the PGA Tour. Obviously, they're a ways off. But as I say in the feature, Davis is right now projected, again, long way to go, but projected to go to 61, and he's a tie for 15th. Well, if he moves into a tie for 10th, maybe he's into the 50s, and now, he has an outside chance of a top 30 spot. Again, he has to play really well. We have to make a significant jump, but these things happen. We've seen it all season on the Korn Ferry Tour. For those interested, again, as of noontime, Rico Hoey has the lead at 4 under. So Patrick is 2 shots back. Davis obviously is 3 shots back. So that's where we are right now with the Korn Ferry Tour and the Pro Golf Watch. Again, critical couple of days here for obviously Davis and Patrick for reasons that we just went through, and Andrew O'Leary to advance to the first stage of PGA Tour Q-School, which starts early October. So interesting stuff. It's an interesting time to follow pro golf, especially at the levels that we cover it at. Obviously, the PGA Tour is on a break. We know the Ryder Cup is coming up. We'll get into that a bit next week. And the Solheim Cup is this weekend, which is always interesting for sure. Hopefully, the Solheim Cup team can set the tone for the Ryder Cup team, and maybe we'll get an American sweep. But interesting time to follow pro golf with these guys kind of playing for their lives in a lot of ways. So that's what we have there. And again, stay tuned to GolfNewsRI.com all weekend long for all the coverage. Press conferences if they talk to the media. I know Patrick talked to the media after last week's first round, so perhaps he'll be back or Davis will be back, and that's always a bonus when you add quotes to your articles and enhance them a little bit. So stay tuned to GolfNewsRI.com all weekend long for full coverage of Davis and Patrick's Korn Ferry Tour rounds as they are playing for a lot right now. I said on the feature that it could be arguably the biggest rounds of their lives, certainly for Patrick to this point, just given the stipulations. And Davis, you could probably make an argument. Perhaps you would say the final stage of Q-School was bigger at the time, but this is certainly a close second. So huge golf rounds for them, and they'll look to continue moving up. Again, just follow the projections. Keep an eye on the projections. Again, these things change so quickly and sometimes so drastically that it's definitely something that you have to keep an eye on. So that's where we are on the Korn Ferry Tour stuff and on Andrew O'Leary. As far as other local stuff, obviously there's not a lot going on. We do have the RI Mid-Am next week at Quinnitissit. So that's always a great 2-day tournament. I'm not that familiar with Quinnitissit, but it's in Connecticut. I hear it's nice. So we'll have some coverage of that obviously coming up next week. And also our friend Michael Edwards at Shore Golf Performance. Make sure you sign up for that fall giveaway. It could be a life-changing thing for someone to be able to work with him for a month and sort of get your health and get your body back on track. I think he put it in the flyer, but I think the package that he's giving away is valued at like $3,000, something crazy like that. 3,500. Sorry, I had to look it up. I want to look it up quick before I said the wrong thing. So definitely sign up for that. There's links on our website. We just reshared the article this morning on our Facebook page and our Instagram story. So be sure to check that out. Support Shore Golf Performance and our guy, Michael Edwards. So with that said, I have a member tournament this week at Kirkbrae on Friday and Saturday, kind of the last hurrah of golf season for me, basically, other than maybe 1 or 2 more rounds, or maybe a few more than 2. I mean, I don't know. There could be some nice days, but not many anyway. So last hurrah for me. Should be a fun tournament. It's all different formats, so it's 27 holes every day. Though Saturday looks like a washout, but it's a scramble, 2-man scramble, then best ball, and then alternate shot. So obviously the alternate shot could potentially be a disaster, but you never know. So looking forward to playing. It's always a fun tournament. It's gonna be a long day, but at least it's not, there's not 27 holes a day of straight golf. It's different formats. It's little bit easier. It's the silly season, as they say. So that's what I have coming up. And as far as Golf News RI goes, we are interested. Last year we did the survey, the handicap survey. We are in the early stages, I guess I'll call it, of putting together some fun kind of fall winter projects, whether it's surveys or videos or other things of that nature. So we have a handful of projects lined up, perhaps a holiday gift show like we did a couple years ago, something along those lines. So we're in the early stages of planning that out. Obviously, we'll give you more information when we're kind of ready to launch some of these things, but it'll be some fun stuff. Try to get some audience participation. I thought the survey last year was a big hit. We got some great data, and I thought we launched it in a cool way. So that's kind of what we're looking to do. So we'll keep you all updated on that stuff as well as it comes. But again, we're still sort of in the planning stages and trying to figure out how exactly this will kind of all work, or at least how exactly some of this stuff will work. So we'll keep you posted on that. So other than that, I got nothing else for you. I hope everyone has a great weekend. Enjoy the golf if you play golf. If you're sitting around watching football, enjoy the football. So that's all we got. This has been the Golf News Podcast. Good luck to Davis and Patrick this weekend on the Korn Ferry Tour, and Andrew O'Leary looking to close out the pre-qualifier for PGA Tour Q-School. So again, follow GolfNewsRI.com. That's your home for Rhode Island golf coverage, and we have it covered as better than anybody. So check that out throughout the weekend. We'll have updates, articles as soon as the rounds end, and much, much more. So that's what we got. I'm Joe Calabro, wishing everybody a great weekend. We will see you next week on the Golf Dudes Podcast and talk to you all weekend long on GolfNewsRI.com.